All right, guys.
Welcome to the Deer Shop Podcast, presented by Siman Brothers Outdoors and the Leaky John Boat Company. Your track job was the first fun track job.
Oh, that was the best.
That kind of like, I think part of my life was influeed by that night.
Looking back on it, my biggest regret was opening day. I knew where it needed to be. I should have just done a simple hanging bank off the corner of that field, and he would have been toast. But I didn't.
That was our first public land deer hunting trip, and it went extremely well.
5 years ago, we couldn't shoot a deer at 100 yards with a slug gun. Now you're shooting turkeys at 100 yards with a shotgun.
It was a 90-yard shot.
Pass through.
And then you miss him 3 times with a rifle at 70 yards on video for the whole world to see.
Yeah, that's what Caleb did.
This is the first buck I've shot in over 10 years. And, not to get too crazy emotional about it, but like
10 years, no buck. All right, guys, Deer Shop Podcast, episode 64. It is October 11th, and we are...
Okay, who wrote that?
I did. We are recording a shop talk tonight for the first time. We haven't had a shop talk in a little while, so today's going to be a shop talk. As always, please like, subscribe, leave a review, stars, all that stuff, depending on what app you're using. I guess I'll start off with saying we had planned to do a big October Lull, October deer hunting podcast today to actually get into some techniques and some, knowledge type based stuff. But Dylan decided the casino was more important, so he's up at the casino.
He left us high and dry.
He left us high and dry. Not that we aren't a
Sometimes you got to let off a little steam.
That's exactly what he said.
He said he wanted to get into the right mental state to kill in the morning, and nothing says that like losing $5,000.
Yeah, right. So we're going to get into that in a little bit. Not that this group around the table right now isn't a group of killers, but I was wanting to have Dylan on, someone that has actually killed a whole bunch of 150s and killed some good October deer, to give some insight. But that's not going to happen. So we will talk about October deer hunting, but we are going to definitely shoot the shit first.
Mm-hmm. That's the plan for tonight.
Yeah, just have a little bit of fun with it. I'm going to mess with my mic here. I think there we go. That's better. I'm going to start with some shout-outs. We don't do this very often, but I'm going to start kind of doing this at the beginning of the podcast just to kind of get the audience engaged a little bit. Because stuff happens throughout the week, and we hear feedback, and things happen, and it's a good segment to throw in there. And I'm going to start with Nick Banks. So, a little weird. Not weird, but Isaac was getting ice cream with
Seville, yeah.
Isaac was in Seville getting ice cream with his fiance or something, and Nick either rolled up with the cruiser or something and said something about, "Oh, I hear you're hunting our deer" or something.
Which would be weird because we don't leave the farm.
Yeah, we haven't we're hunting the same properties we've hunted for 20 years. So, Nick Banks, we're not sure what you meant by that comment, but congratulations on killing that 160-inch buck that you did.
Right.
That I don't recognize. So it wasn't a deer that we were hunting. Yeah, we were just kind of confused about the comment, but I guess it's all good because he killed a good one.
Yeah.
Those brothers kill 1 or 2 good ones every year. I mean, that's kind of to be expected.
Yeah, that deer was a slammer.
Yeah, and they got a bunch of spots everywhere.
They do.
Like.
They do. They
got a big property down south too, I think.
Yeah, so we know, obviously, that Nick and his brother would be one of those people that, we're friends with, but I mean, when it comes to deer season, we're not sharing exactly where we're hunting, sharing deer. Like you're in that category. That's just the way it has to be here in Northeast Ohio. So we don't know exactly where he killed it or anything. So congratulations on the buck. We just thought it was interesting, the comment of moving in your deer or something. It was strange because we haven't done any moving anywhere. But
yeah.
On that note, which might be related to it, I just want to give a quick shout out to Ryan King because I know he's listening to the podcast.
Every episode.
So Ryan.
Allegedly.
So Ryan, there's your shout out. We're not going to talk about your deer on the air. Yet. I do want to talk about Matt Pavlik for 1 second. So he got all worked up last week when I said that he was. I re-listened to the podcast and I didn't even call him washed up or anything.
No, you just said Gelt's leading the pack.
Yeah, I said that he no longer has killed the biggest deer in that Smack Talk group. And Matt was like, I'm dealing. I got my dad and my 2 kids, all that. Which
he was so mad he drove to his dad's shop and videotaped all his deer.
Yeah, he had to show me
that video. I don't remember the smack talk that you had.
It was nothing, but I made a comment after the Gullet podcast in the group like, oh, Matt's getting passed up here. He's no longer, every year Matt Pavitt would kill the biggest deer.
All right.
And then, last couple of years, some people have, Kasich, Gullet, kill some big ones, and Matt's no longer killing the biggest ones, and he went and sent me their trophy wall. So if you know the Pavliks, and I know a lot of guys that are listening know the Pavliks, their trophy wall is,
immense.
There ain't words. There's probably 50 deer on the wall.
Yeah.
There's a couple deer that should have been ours that were
He's
on
killed
that
he's killed some deer
neighboring property that
Oh yeah, in our area.
when we lost our permission to hunt the certain property.
Between the two brothers, the dad, and the two boys, I'm sure there's 50 plus bucks on that wall. Over 120. So between 120 and 170. We don't have to get into that, but and a couple elk and maybe 10 mule deer.
Mm-hmm.
But so Matt, you're not washed up. All right, just relax.
You're washed up. You got a gray beard.
He is old. He is definitely the old guy in the group.
Snappy sent today with him and the boys in the blind. Gray beard. I'm like, he's getting a little old on us.
I do want to get his boys on the podcast. I've been working on that, and it's we'll figure that one out.
Yeah.
I do want to give a shout out to Mike Wellman because he is a all-time listener of every podcast. He was at the deer shop party, so he's going to be in that video, which will be out. That episode will be out Sunday. Well, no, it won't. I don't have time to finish editing it. It's almost done, so it'll probably be out next Sunday. So episode 3, Deer Camp Chronicles, will be out next Sunday. And Mike,
Which will be
you're
the
in that
Sunday
one.
after this airs.
Yeah, so it won't be. Yeah, you're going to be listening to this podcast on a Monday. It'll be the Sunday following. That'll.
Yeah, he loves it, and we got to get him on sometime. I
Yeah,
keep telling him we're going to get him on, and
we'll get him on.
we
Mike,
will definitely get him on. He'll shoot another big one like he did last year, and
I'll have him bring
a story
2 or
about
3 of his best bucks in here, and we'll have him tell the story. I know he's going through some stuff in his personal life, so I just wanted to give him a shout out. I have Dylan Horner listed on here. We already kind of roasted him a bit, but I hope you're having fun right now at Morton's Steakhouse and up at the casino and not hanging out with your slum friends. But
yeah,
Dylan was supposed to be on here, but he's getting his head cleared. He has been hunting really hard with his recurve bow, trying to get his first recurve kill. He wants to kill a doe. He missed one the other night. If you follow the podcast and the videos, obviously you know that he missed a gobbler during spring gobbler season on video that we had 5 different camera angles of. It was almost just so perfect, but it wasn't. But he's trying to get that first recurve kill. I know he's got a buck that's kind of started showing up in one of his places that he might actually take a stab at with the recurve. So he said he's got to get his head right tonight. He actually took the wife out. They went downtown, so we're giving him some shit, but he's doing what he has to do.
I think he needs to start going for character over inches.
Yeah, Dylan's trophy wall, we've talked about it. I need to get him to bring his 200 in here so we can have the podcast about that. But, Dylan's got a nice little old farmhouse that he redid all custom. He's got 14 deer heads on the wall that don't fit. It's basically his house is the size of this room. He's got 14 deer heads on the wall. He's running out of room because he kills so many big deer. And he's like you said, he's got to stop worrying about what the deer scores and just go for character now because who cares at this point? Once you kill 200, what does it matter?
Right.
So just
Yeah.
go for the cool looking deer, This will be the last of my blabbing, and then I'll let the boys start talking.
Yeah,
but
right.
the podcast metrics, YouTube and over the streaming services have been awesome the last couple weeks. We've had a really good listener base on the streaming services. The YouTube versions of the podcast have done awesome. There was a lot of really good feedback with the Zach Haas EHD podcast. That one's still ripping on YouTube. A lot of guys said they wish that one was longer. We kept going into stuff. I do kind of wish we actually would have kept going with that podcast, but we recorded that one late at night on a weekday, I think it was. So we were in here till 11 o'clock, and he was in Wisconsin, so there's a time difference and all that. But that podcast went really well, and we're going to get him back on after the season. We'll talk about either CWD or water.
And we'll see what Ohio State puts out about what's happened this summer and fall with EHD.
Yep. So, Zach, we'll get him back on. We charted in Canada this week. We were the 56th ranked podcast in Canada this week for hunting stuff.
I'll take it.
Hey, I'll take it. Because it was Tyler Gullett's the Booner episode that aired, which is doing well on YouTube and the streaming. He killed that 170-inch typical suburban buck. We had that story on. Awesome deer. It was a podcast that I really enjoyed. He did well with it. He was ready for this kind of thing. He didn't have any mic stutter or nothing.
Very well spoken.
Yeah, very well spoken. Very good podcast. So check those last 2 out. Speaking of Canada, half our crew right now is in Canada for a bachelor party. So Kasich, Nick, and Tyler, by the time this airs, you've already been back, and I'm sure you've told us stories, and we're not going to tell those stories on this podcast, but I hope Canada goes well. And it's Apple Butter Weekend, so by the time this airs, it'll be over. But the Apple Butter Festival in Chatham happens the second week of October every year, which basically coincides with the beginning of the pre-rut heavy. I know we've already talked about scrapes and rubs and seeing bucks move around, all that stuff, cold temperatures. But usually this weekend, which is either like the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, somewhere in that range, that is when scrapes really open up. The deer start moving a lot more.
Pre-rut.
The pre-rut really starts to ramp up during this time period. But we are here today to talk about October hunting. We're going to talk about the lull, maybe some tactics, some of our stories, but a perfect segue would be Ryan Freeman. We're going to talk about your deer and your heartbreak that you I guess it's heartbreak, but your heartbreak this week. We never talked about it on the podcast, obviously, because you don't want to give too much away, but over the summer you had a slammer at one of your hunting spots. And
I mean, it comes with the territory of the county that we're in.
Yeah, we talk all the time. There's only so many mature bucks, and there's a lot of people hunting each mature buck. But Ryan, I'll let you talk about it. You had a small property, and this summer you had a. I mean, did you ever end up getting a score? Did he tell you? Did the guy who killed the buck we're talking about tell you the score?
He said he was going to score it the next day.
Okay.
And I didn't have the heart to
Ask
follow up on it because it really doesn't matter.
Right.
I mean,
you've been
he's between 160 and 170.
Absolutely.
I say he's less.
I mean, he might be high one, but Hook's 156, and Hook has mass, but I think this deer had tie and length. And
he's got
height.
He's got 10.
I mean, it'd be close.
Those night pictures really make him look a lot bigger on the Tacticams.
That's true.
When you glassed him as much as I have, it's
See,
pretty
I think
evident.
Tacticams usually made the deer look smaller. Like in my opinion was the Tacticam pictures always made them look smaller than they were.
Well, that
Like we would get them on video on like a Browning or something, and then a Tacticam, the Browning video would be like, whoa. Then you get on a Tacticam, you're like,
Yeah.
So, well, that 10 that I was after the last 2 years, when that kid shot it opening day last year, it was 138. I thought it was a lot bigger than it had a lot taller tines than it looked like in the night pictures.
Well,
all right,
back to you.
All right, back to you, Ryan.
We'll figure the score out. But if you've been listening to the podcast since last year, you know that I do a little bit of yard hunting.
I wasn't going to give away where the place was, but yeah, you're yard hunting.
I mean, what's it matter at this point?
He's dead.
He's gone.
I mean, it's essentially yard hunting. There is some small permission pieces that make it a little bit more strategic as far as trying to, traverse and put yourself in a situation to kill him. Unfortunately, he died exactly 1 week into the season, so not very much time to do so. But this deer was my number one I was hunting last year. He was probably about 140 inch and just blew up. I mean, he took a 3 to 4 year just mega.
Yeah, he was
definitely got way taller.
He was a standard 3-year-old last year.
Yeah.
130, 135, but like maybe close to 140, but then year 4, I mean, shit.
So actually what's funny about it is Ethan saw him first. I'm quite certain this summer.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't running cams yet. I mean, especially not at the house. I mean, it just not,
We were going golfing in the morning. I looked over and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah. So, I mean, and then I started, seeing him.
Velvet?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he looked pretty good. So I started seeing him, pretty regularly, and got close to season. I actually almost watched him get hit by a vehicle 2 days before season started.
Been there.
Went after it. Went after him opening morning after the shop party, which wasn't very fun.
Yeah, I'm sure that was rough.
That was very rough. And didn't see him. Ended up getting busted by a doe, and pretty much hiked back over, to the house.
Yeah, hiked over to my front porch, grabbed coffee.
So, this deer, I mean, if you could post I can send you.
Yeah,
you can post a clip of it or picture of it or something.
Maybe he'll make the thumbnail for this episode a little.
Yeah. So mega giant, and my buddy.
Clean 10.
Yeah, one of my buddies who's not a hunter.
Very symmetrical.
Yeah.
He shows me a picture that was posted on Medina County Hunters. I'm not on Facebook or.
Ryan's a
non-social media guy. So
off.
I'm looking at this deer, and this local individual who shot him lives, or parents lived, or where we thought he lived was nowhere near where.
Yeah, closer to us.
Yeah, closer to here. Really, would logistically have no chance at this deer. And I'm looking at him, and he's kind of got a prominent inside kicker, and I couldn't really see it in that first picture with him in the back of the truck. But I was getting a little nervous, and then I had texted Ethan, and I said, why does his buck look like my buck? And he goes, look at the brow tines, you fucking dumbass or something.
Yeah, that one brow. You can't
Luke
deny that one.
He's got like an acorn at the end of it, too.
Luke put it in our brothers group chat probably, I think it was like 15 minutes before.
Yeah.
And we all were like, nope, that doesn't look familiar because we didn't think he was hunting certain spots. We thought he was hunting in a different location. And then he texted me and I put 2 and 2 together. I was like, oh, that's because it is your deer.
Yeah, I do remember you said something in the group. You're like, is no one going to tell me so-and-so killed my fucking deer? And we're like, he posted it 17 minutes
I didn't know
on social media, man.
He
like,
killed him the night prior.
Me and Nick were in the woods when this was all happening.
Yeah.
We took a little video in the woods that makes the next episode.
Yeah, I didn't see it till after it was brought up in the group chat.
Right, yeah.
So
I looked at it. As soon as I seen the picture, I'm like, yep.
But he was killed the night prior, so I was assuming the information had been out there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you weren't thinking it. No one was. So then the question started churning in my head. I'm thinking, how did this happen? How this happened? And we ended up figuring out based on who this local individual was dating.
Yeah.
And
how many yards was it from
2
your
and
front
2.
porch?
About 400 yards from my house. And so I actually drove over there and had a conversation with him, and the deer wasn't there to see. I don't know, where it was, but
that kind of sucks. It would be nice to see it.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much why I wanted to go over there, was just to get a chance to see him. He said when he mounts it, he'll stop over with it. But yeah, I mean it just is what it is.
Yeah, great.
I mean we've all been there. I mean we got there's like 5 deer on the wall in this shop that someone else killed or whatever.
It was heartbreak.
Parents or dad or whoever still live on the corner there.
Yeah. That's where I kind of thought the deer was killed. But
they don't have any property there though.
No,
right?
but they've always killed some deer. So I didn't know logistically where they were hunting, but I didn't think it was Ryan's deer when I glanced. Me and Nick were doing a bunch of scouting stuff at his farm, getting cameras out and stuff, and like I seen it briefly, and I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
Then I checked my messages later, and it was like there was like 50 messages. I'm like, what the and then they're like, oh.
Yeah, I probably would have glanced over it too if you guys didn't say anything. But if I really would have looked at the brow tines, you can't deny that one.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
That brow tine was bladed last year like that. It was something that was prominent that stuck with him as he grew, and it's just part of
hunting.
I mean, he was the deer I was going after, I guess, in that area for 2 years, I didn't even get full 2 years of going after him. But
yeah, I mean,
it honestly came with a little bit of relief of not trying. I mean, yeah, I'd love to put a deer like that on the wall. I don't even have a deer close to that on the wall.
I don't think any of us in this room have a deer close to that.
No.
So, I mean, you gave me your opinion on it. I didn't have necessarily a differing opinion on attempting to go after him. It was just
no reason not to.
It now has eliminated me.
Yeah.
Spending time
hunting
on my permission.
Hunting on a way you didn't really want to. So like you mentioned, yard hunting. It's not. There's nothing romantic and fun about hunting a couple hundred yards from your back porch. Like I know some people actually kind of like that, but it's tough. We have this idea in our heads of we're going to be in the deep woods, and there's going to be no people interference, and the sounds are going to be great, and smells are going to be great, and the deer are going to be doing deer stuff. When you're yard hunting, you're hunting, and you're Johnny, get back here, you son of a bitch, and then ran, 5 leaf blowers and cars going down the road, and your wife's letting the dogs out, they're running over, saying hi to you, and then they go back. Like it's yard hunting,
which is funny because
it sucks, but when you have a chance at 160, 170 inch typical, you got to do it.
I was gonna, but I was not gonna press it.
Yeah.
And in a way that was gonna just completely blow my appetite.
I don't think in that 1 week of time, obviously we gave you a lot of shit, but I don't think there was a time where you blew it by not being in the woods hunting that deer. I don't think you ever had a realistic opportunity at killing him.
It just wasn't going to line up.
There was a lot of
most likely not, but you can't.
You don't know. The cameras don't tell the whole story.
They do not, and
they don't. But Ryan looking from his bedroom window does.
My main property, I have 5. I actually have 6 cameras now. I put that up that spy point that I found, and they're so close to each other, but they're not the same deer on there, and it's so weird. Like you would think they'd kind of take the same path and go this way, do that, or whatever, but they do not.
Well, I'll get into it a little bit later, but there's that buck that's the sheds on the table there, the deer that everyone kind of knows that I'm hunting this year. This week he was on 2 cameras like this, but there was and both those cameras that he was on were in food plots and just random food plot cameras. There's a heavy scrape that was really tore up in between them. I mean, literally within 100 yards in between each of those cameras, heavy scrape on the side of the food plot that I figured for sure he would be on. He wasn't on the scrape. He was in the 2 food plots, tickling horns, feeding, doing whatever, walking through the middle of the night. He never hit the scrape, which if you would have your cell camera on what you think is the best intel, which would be the scrape there, you wouldn't know that he was even there, but he was there multiple times.
Yeah. Keep in mind, that's not in your backyard.
Yeah.
I pretty much know I didn't have an opportunity.
Right. I understand that.
And this deer was very alert all the time. I mean, obviously it's survival. They've got different instincts. But this deer, I mean, he was...
When you get to be a buck of 4 years, you've been shot at, you've been hunted, you've been...
And spooked and...
Yeah.
So...
They've been around the block, especially
figure out the
that
difference
block,
between a 4-wheeler and a person walking and...
Oh, yeah.
So, and to Jenny...
Yeah, the deer was named Jenny.
Jenny.
Why did you call it? Why was it named Jenny?
Because I love that deer, and I named it after my first love, Jennifer Aniston.
I just don't have any attraction to her at all.
Well, I mean, she's like 55 now.
Well, that's
but
rude.
when I was
even when I was
That's
younger,
rude.
Still good looking.
Yes.
I was 10 years old. My God.
give me Sydney.
It's
Sweeney.
funny.
Sydney Sweeney any day.
Boo, she sucks.
City
But-
Sweeney is... I don't know.
Like,
I don't get it.
We talk about
Well,
yard
she's
hunting, how it's
good.
not.
Cans.
Yeah. Well, we know your obsession.
We talk about yard hunting and not being like romantic hunting. I was in the deep South woods tonight, and I heard Nathan and Kyle bitching at each other on the tractor in the Seafield.
I remember-
heard neighbors to the east yelling. I heard the dog barking to the south.
I know.
No matter, you can't get away from it. We're not hunting Kansas.
I remember
There's not
Right.
I remember-
400 acres of
Or even
unabated
just
woods
like
here.
Southeast Ohio, where there's 300 acres
Yeah.
you're hunting on.
Even when we go down to Gore's and we're hunting, we're hunting butt fucking nowhere down at Gore's cabin. You still hear some lady yelling at her dog half a mile away, like, Bernie! It's like you can't,
Just
you
carries.
literally can't get away from it.
Yeah.
Unless you go to Montana. But yeah, I think there was no comedy in you not killing that deer, but the comedy of the matter was we had a lot of fun with the fact that you went downtown Cleveland, Indians game, casino, all this stuff, and then that night the deer died. Like you were out there doing, which it wouldn't have mattered because the deer was 400 yards away, obviously. It wouldn't have mattered. But it's funny that you were out doing those things and that guy was killing them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a valid point.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't do every single thing.
You could have been sitting there and it wouldn't have mattered.
But
Right.
yeah, so.
We did have a good fucking
But
day
I will
that day.
say, I mean, I'm not going to go out of, I know we're doing shop talks. I guess they really don't matter, but I got away from having to have that yard obsession.
Yeah.
I'm focusing more on.
I think you're going to have a good time hunting your bigger properties.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I wanted to do, and that's what I wasn't going to neglect them. And each hunt's gotten better. I went from sitting in the rain, not seeing anything, basically, to seeing a bunch of deer far off, to having deer all over me the last
How's
month.
the filming going? So Ryan, in case you guys don't know, Ryan has added a camera setup. He is our 6th guy with a camera on the crew.
Setup,
And it's probably I'm sure he's having a lot of. I'm sure it's interesting.
yeah, it's a little bit interesting. Obviously, never doing it before. And, I thought the setup was pretty good at my other property this way.
Yeah.
I've got a nice double tree. I mean, I climb up in between them. It sits right here.
That's how I love to do it.
I mount that arm
yeah.
right there, and it's I'm looking over a field, and it's I'm pretty much got a couple shooting lanes. If something happens in the woods, it's not it's not going to be on film.
Right.
At least I'm not experienced enough to even know how I'd.
Do you have a second angle camera?
I need to buy a battery. They said
Yeah, for the GoPro. We're giving him one of the GoPros.
I say, why don't he has a? I'm sure there's batteries and
Good. We need good batteries. Those
Yeah,
batteries.
he
are
sent.
because like
Isaac
sometimes
sent me a link.
because that's what we use the second angle cameras for. If you have it mounted above, so if you have it mounted kind of like where you pick up your bow, if you can just click it on and have it on a wide angle, you might not be able to get your but that thing will capture a bunch of stuff that makes it work.
Well, and I need that too because So the first hunt, you know, it was raining and just never let off, and I was obviously trying to protect the equipment. So there's nothing to go off of. Then
rain
the second
makes it
hunt,
tough.
you know, I kind of set up and I gave a little intro, and then I wasn't really able to provide any deer content with it. And then
It's tough,
you know,
ain't it?
the third hunt, I had, you know, some deer show up, but they never. I mean, I only really had one doe. Well, a couple does that, you know, I think I got a little bit of the one doe that kind of snuck up on me.
It's tough, ain't it?
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely an added experience. It's,
Someone's is it Alex?
Sorry. So there's an added level of,
My bad.
you know,
Skeezy.
difficulty, but, you know,
Yeah.
it's fun. I would like to bring more content. I'd like to be able to do a little bit, you know, more interviews or give some context to what might happen instead of you just see, you know, you put together a video and you just see,
Well, like,
and we got a buck, you know, and then there's nothing, you know, afterwards I'm sitting there like, you know, trying to explain what happened while holding a fucking camcorder. So
it's funny how, like, not funny, but like if you watch let's say you watch like a high level hunting video and like the camera work that's done, like it's crazy now seeing how hard it is to do it, how they get that. Like it's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, they also have full-time
A lot of them,
filmers
they have-
with dedicated cameramen.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah.
a lot
Obviously,
different than what we do.
Obviously, but
So hopefully, you know, something fun will happen.
the leaves will start coming off. You'll be able to see a lot more in the woods. It'll make filming easier. But
Yeah.
All right, Alex, let's talk about your deer situation. I know the last couple of days you've been posting a pretty decent buck
Yeah.
that your son is probably going to shoot.
He will, or Autumn has decided that she wants to shoot.
Oh,
buddy.
And I posted a snap. Ryan didn't see it, but she shot the shed.
She did. I seen it.
So you're going to need to have Uncle Ryan over here start hunting with your boy so that you can take your daughter out now.
Right. But she
Good
buried
time.
that arrow
It's
into
funny.
a 2x4
Bolt.
bolt, whatever.
It's funny because there's a bolt at the end of our driveway buried into a tree, and I believe it's yours.
No, it's not.
Someone crossbowed a tree down there.
Was not I.
Well, yeah, because your crossbow blew up last time you brought it here.
That's true. It was dead on, then it blew up. But that was kind of my fault because I talked to her, had her looking through the scope, said, "You see the 20 mark? You see the 30 mark? You see this right below?" I said, "Oh, yeah, I see it." I said, "See where the 20 is a plus sign?" She's like, yeah, I see it. I said, "Put that right on the target." She's like, "Oh, okay." And when I did it for Anthony, I took a picture of it, like, through my phone through the scope and showed him. Mm-hmm. And it made sense. Then she's very smart and very
Yeah, she's got her
smarter than I.
got her mom's brain.
Right.
100% got
Yeah.
her mom's brain.
Her mom went to Ohio State. I went to Akron. So I was like, yeah, she's got it. Shoots it. I'm like, where is it?
That sounded weird.
Yeah.
That sounded
like,
different.
That sounded hard. And it buried it into a 2x4 like this far.
That's all right.
Didn't break.
So she wants to start hunting, huh?
Yeah. So she had it on the 60 yard instead of 20 yard.
Yeah, that happened.
It was
I
dead
showed her-
nuts straight up.
Yeah, it was.
It was right on. Right on.
right on.
I showed her the 20 yard. Next one, fucking bullseye.
Yeah.
But so I want to get her out maybe Sunday,
Okay.
and she says she wants to shoot anything. I'm not going to let her shoot a baby, but
Whatever. How old is she?
9.
9. Yeah, I think she's gonna start seeing deer and it's gonna like,
Whoa!
the shakes
Yeah.
are gonna happen.
Well,
I mean, I still get
you
the
got the
shake.
TMU all good set up?
We'll see.
Okay.
But I don't have my blind out yet, and that's where I sat the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the sun was shining and the way the wind was blowing, everything was perfect. Because where I have that little platform for my blind, deer couldn't see me because the sun was shining in their eyes, and it worked out perfect. And I wish I would have had her with me because I had does and yearlings. There's probably 8 of them within 20, 25 yards. And I was like, she could have smoked one of them.
You'll get that
But,
opportunity.
oh,
Yeah, it'll
yeah.
happen.
And tonight I didn't sit there because the wind was really bad for that spot.
Today was southwest wind,
Southeast.
It was,
yeah.
well, I had
I didn't even hunt tonight.
west, southwest, a lot of south, and then it kind of turned south. And the deer were literally 5 yards from that spot. And I was watching them across the field. And I'm like, they probably would have smelled me and spooked and whatever. But
Made a big ruckus.
yeah, it turned out to be a good night overall. That spot kind of sucks because there's too many deer. Like
you said tonight, you couldn't get out. You're just sitting there.
yeah, they're behind me, over here, over there, over there. If I didn't park where I usually park behind the one barn. I parked further away, and they were right next to the barn where I usually park. Like I could have just pulled my truck forward and sat there, and if I wanted to shoot something, I could have shot them.
It's crazy how that works out. These early season Ohio hunts, man.
Yeah. So that buck that I'm after with that kicker in his G2.
Yeah, he's good. He's got a nice split G2.
Yeah.
He's a lot like the deer Anthony shot last year.
A little bit.
He's got like a similar kind of build to him.
A little bit. I think he's probably mid 130s, like I said.
Yeah,
probably lower 130s.
The fact that he's a 10 and has a split though will help his scoring. You know?
Yeah, but he's pretty cool, unique. And the last 2 mornings, he was there at 7 o'clock. The last 2 mornings, or right before, like quarter till
if you were
7.
there, he wouldn't have been there.
I've noticed that the bucks.
I don't think I would have had a shot at him.
There has been the deer that I've been trying to kill that I'm hunting this year. He's been killable in the mornings once and real close a second time. The mornings are good right now, but like Ryan said, I don't know if we start going in there setting up, making ruckus. I don't know if it'd be the same. Like they're walking around in the mornings in daylight because they're very unpressured right now in October.
Right. And so the problem with that spot is that it's a hay field.
Yeah.
So anytime I go there early in the morning, they're
100 deer.
They're just moon shining. They're in the field.
Yeah.
And just like tonight, I had deer over here. I had a little 8-point that walked right to me. Could have shot him 30 times. Walked around me. He came right head on to me and kind of looked at me right in the eyes, right in the hairy eye.
Right in the hairy eyeball.
And
your mother had the tongue of a trout.
That's true. And he was sketched out, so he kind of took off, hit a scrape, then went behind me, tried to win me. Was still sketched out because I was kind of moving because there was deer all around me where I was sitting. So the spot I went tonight was wide open. I've been wanting to take a bunch of logs that are down everywhere to make a natural blind, and I just haven't had the time. But it's a mint spot. Other than leaving it,
Yeah.
you have to cross the field. So he circled me. Kind of got spooked, didn't really. It was over here. So right when it got dark, I had a couple doe and yearling, and they were just moving across the field like a frickin' combine. And they went over there, and it got dark. And I'm like, so there's deer here. There's like 5 or 6 here. 3 over there by the barn where I need to go to my truck. There's some over here, some behind me. I'm like, I can't get out of here. So I'm yiping and screaming and barking whatever. Owls above my head. And they're just like, whatever, and just go back to eating. I'm like, so if I move in the daylight, though, they're like,
What's that?
Yeah.
Do you have remote start on your truck?
No.
But if you did, you could
If
have
I
it
did.
and you could have it in view, so you could start up your truck and fire on the headlights, and it would at least give them something to distract them.
Well, that was the thing the other night. So the first night I went out. Tonight was the second night. So they're all around me. We'll go to that later. So they're all around me in the field, but where my blind sits, I cut a tunnel in there so I can sneak out of there.
Yeah.
So when they're in the field, they don't see me leaving. So I got out of there, and I go into the yard where the in-laws' house is, and there's deer in the yard there, right next to my truck. I'm like, I can't leave here.
There's no shortage of deer in this area.
No.
It's just it's fucking unreal.
So I'm going to have to start shooting more. I got to get Avery to shoot some too.
Yeah,
Avery said she would only shoot a buck, but then she decided she wasn't going to hunt this year. So
get the boy, get the girls out there. Just you can take
Massacre.
You'll be able to take 8, 9 deer if you add them all up.
yeah. I'm going to take
That'll make just a tiny little dent.
a couple kids from work. One kid from work never shot a deer.
Do it.
I took a video the first day. Like, there's deer right here. You can't shoot a deer. They're right here.
Yeah.
I was like, you suck.
That's kind of the problem that I have at that spot. That's why I only go. I've hunted it once, and I'm just gonna leave it because, I mean,
you want to go in there. You want to go in there when the time is perfect.
When you feel good about it.
Yeah.
You know, the night before was the only reason that I made the last second move to try and get out there. But I had 13 deer in a single file line walk out of the neighbor's property. The guy that we were in good standings, share information. I had 13 deer upwind of me, perfect, eating acorns and sitting in the woods there. I'm checking the wind, and it's going northeast. They walk by, and they got basically northwest, and the doe, smelled me, but didn't blow. Starts just kind of, it's like, how did you walk downwind, not smell me? You get out of the wind line, and then
that starts like that starts playing the thermal game. It was the temperature rising, was the temperature falling, what was
is
the
there
pressure?
Water nearby? What's going on?
Is there a little valley that's going to pull your thermals?
That's kind of why I sat where I was tonight. So it's on a point. It comes into the field. The woods come to a point, but there's a ravine that runs right into it.
That's going to pull at night. That's going to pull all your scent.
So that's what I was hoping for. Just suck it down in there.
Luckily, I had 2 young bucks that were chasing them like crazy, and then they were fighting, out in the field, and basically all the does left.
Yeah.
So when I got down, I actually took just a route I normally wouldn't take, and I probably got out. I got in and out pretty clean, so hopefully my next sit there will be more productive.
Speaking of those thermals, like I'll have my milkweed, and the wind will call northwest. So you're just sitting there and you're saying you want to check it. It's early, you're bored. So you pull your milkweed out, you throw it out there, and it's like it flies by perfectly. Like hell yeah. And you go back there, and I'm sitting there, and it'll come shooting underneath the stand. Fuck! Like, what the? Like, damn it!
What the hell does that even mean?
It went that way with the wind, but it gets low, and it gets into those thermals and everything, and it starts drawing down that ravine.
Drops out of the sunlight, and
I'm like, man. So then, obviously the first year that comes in, and you're just like, fuck. But that's the game we play.
Yeah.
That's the game we play.
That's kind of why I got away from that double stand that I had along that one tree line, because they've been bedding hard in that woods along that tree line, and the field that I'm hunting is west of that. So they're coming, walking right behind me. And I watched one earlier today walk right along that tree line, stay in the woods, and walk down the tree line. Inside there, it would have winded me for sure.
The one stand I've been hunting to try to kill that buck, there's a doe. Like I think it's literally the last 3 or 4 times I've sat that stand. When she comes through, it doesn't matter how far upwind or where she's coming in. Like my setup might be perfect. When she comes through, the entire time she's walking through that, it's a flat. There's no elevation change or anything. It's just a big flat. But the deer love to use it, kind of like a yarding spot. As she walks through, she's staring up at my stand, and she's picked me off the last 3 times I've hunted. From 100 yards away, she just stops, and I won't even see. I wouldn't have even seen her come in. There's leaves and stuff on the tree still, but you'll be sitting there, and I'll just hear that thud of her
and then
foot.
she does the bob weave.
Yeah, she's stomping. So I look over, and she's 100 yards upwind, just staring at me in the tree, and she knows the exact tree where I'm. I gotta kill her, but the problem is it's a deep wood stand. If I kill her, it's gonna make a big mess getting her in and out.
It's funny because I don't think it's because we're moving or they smell us. I think they just know the stand's there. Like they see the physical stand.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, no one's in it today. Okay. And then you hunt it, and it's like, oh.
Well, all the days that we're not hunting, she's hitting the scrape 40 yards away.
Yeah.
She's sniffing a licking branch. She's hitting the scrape, acting fine. But if I sit it, she's 100 yards away, and she's a big old bitch, She's just staring at me.
And it's funny because deep in the South Woods, I was hunting the stand that you hung, 5 days before?
5 days.
No one hunted it. First doe that walked by picked me off. hunted the stand. I hung tonight, which is 50, maybe 55 yards
you did a hang and bang
south of where that stand was. She walked by, no problem. Same train of does.
Yeah.
She looked at the stand. No one was there. Kept on walking because I had self-protected.
I've thought about putting just taking a hoodie and a hanger and a string and just hanging it up there.
You remember back in the day in Cabela's, you could buy an inflatable hunter. There's you could blow up this fake hunter to have sit in your stand,
which is a scarecrow.
And it's that
if it's there all the time, it doesn't bother him. If it's going to be moving with the wind, if it's just moving freely,
I agree. They'll get used to it. But my question always was: if when you go to hunt, what do you do? When you go to hunt, what do you do with this 6 foot tall inflatable hunting guy?
That's why you don't do inflatable.
Right.
You just do a hoodie and a hanger.
You throw them down the ground, so there's just a balloon laying on the ground.
You pop them, then you got to blow them up when you leave.
All the noise you're making.
Well, you see the guys post on Facebook. They put a blow up doll in the tree.
Yeah. I mean, Cabela's when we were kids, Cabela's would sell this literally inflatable hunter that you would put in your tree stand.
I don't remember seeing
that's great and all, but I'm gonna climb up there. What do I do next?
Cuddle it.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I think you just take a hoodie like this.
Yeah.
Something kind of like you're gonna wear, dark, and wear it for a few days, then hang it up.
I don't disagree. I mean, it's obvious.
Someone's got to do it.
Year after year after year after year. Obviously, these deer
We never do it.
Let's talk about our hunting a bit real quick. There's really not much to report.
Yeah,
we haven't hunted that much. We haven't hunted that much. We did want to kill some does early, but it's been hot. It's finally getting cool, so it's starting to cool off. But, I mean, it was hot for a while, and with our deer shop, we don't have a cooler, or we don't have a walk-in yet. So, if we shoot a doe, we got to butcher it that night or ice it up. And so we haven't actually killed any does or anything yet. Which
we also haven't been hunting the stands to kill does.
No.
Every stand we've been hunting is to kill bucks.
Yeah, because the buck that I wanted to kill has been a little bit active. But Isaac and Ethan have both had good buck counters so far. Isaac laid some footage down. Ethan laid some footage down. It'll be the next episode. I believe, man, I'm torn on that. I'm torn on that 110 point. We've gone so back and forth on him. We've gone from he's a shooter for sure we started with, he's not a shooter. He's just a young 3-year-old 10. We're going to let him go. Season came on. He shut off his velvet. There's some videos of him. I'm looking at this deer. I'm like,
he might be
probably 4 years old. His body's a step bigger than the other deer around, and his rack's not that bad. It's heavy. His G4s aren't great, but he's a heavy deer. So we've gone back and forth on whether we're going to kill that deer. Isaac saw him in person.
And he said kill. He said that he's
he said from some angles he's killing him for sure. From others he's not. He filmed him across the field. He got some good video, but nothing close enough. So, I mean, that 10's going to be a deer we make a decision on when he's in front of us and 20 yards broadside. We'll figure it out then. You had an encounter with a buck we call Browless. Would you have shot him if he offered you a shot?
I don't know. I got excited because he was horned and he's coming in. I stood up, grabbed my bow, and he busted me. But it would have been kind of. It was getting kind of dark. Would have been great video. Quartering 2, I just stood up because I had a buck coming in.
Yeah,
and I wasn't really sure which buck it was.
Yeah, I mean the video's not bad. It'll be in the next episode, but
it would have been a poor shot opportunity. If I would have shot him and wounded him, people would be like, "What are you fucking doing? Why are you taking that shot?"
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like you kind of answered it yourself, though. I mean, you got excited, you got up, you're getting your bow.
But you can grab your bow.
It's hard. Well, no, I mean, that's not. You're getting prepared. You're not sure what deer it is, but
yeah,
you got to do that no matter what kind of deer it is. So that 8 point I had today, not that I'm shooting a vertical bow, but
that's all right.
I had the tripod.
You're our resident
tripod over to minimize the amount of movement because I knew he's coming this way, and I wasn't going to shoot him, but I was just moving around.
You don't know what's going to follow either.
Right. And that big buck's been hanging around with a buck that size. So I don't know if he's going to be behind him, following him. So I just kind of moved over and got sights on him. And that's when he walked in and got 20 yards from me and looked at me like, "Ooh, something's weird there."
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a slow start for us. Last year, all our main spots had beans. And they were still green. So last year, early season, Isaac, me, Ethan, Luke, Nick, we were all hunting a lot early, seeing good 3-4-year-old bucks, laying down a lot of footage. The early season was pretty exciting last year. Luke had an encounter with the deer he ended up killing on opening day.
Mm-hmm.
That hasn't quite happened yet this year. There's a lot of corn, which makes filming deer hunts over fields pretty much impossible. And
then any place with beans, with the drought, they've turned. Even your beans have turned. They're starting to turn yellow.
At the one property, yes, they're pretty.
And ours are already harvested. I mean, ours are gone.
Yeah. The other property where I shot 2 years ago, where they're not quite as green as they were then, but those ones are still pretty green. But
it was 1 year ago.
I'm sure the frost. It was
2 years.
2 years ago.
2 years ago yesterday. 10th?
8th.
Okay, because I got some update. I got some memories on my Snapchat and stuff about it.
Yeah, the beans that are close to me are second crop.
I thought it was the 8th. Either way.
Yeah. 2-year anniversary. Yeah, so second crop beans are what the Northeast Ohio hunters like. All ours were first crop beans.
I do not, because that's not where I hunt. And there's no one used to hunt it, and I seen a guy carrying a bag of corn there.
But the ag beans this year are early harvested, but the acorns.
Yeah,
acorns are crazy.
So let's get into the October lull. We talked about our hunting. There's not much there. Let's get into the October lull and October hunting. A lot of people think the October lull, you hear it in videos, media, social media posts. People post that I had a deer all summer, and then October came around and he's fucking gone. The October lull is a thing that happens all across the country where guys start seeing less bucks and they start having some really bad hunts early to mid-October. And there's a lot of talk about what that is, this and that and the other. I think I'll save my opinions for the end, but I'll let you guys kind of dabble on this a bit on what you think it is and your way around it or your experiences with October. I guess I'll let you have the floor.
I think it's just strictly food sources.
Changing.
Yeah, food sources changing, harvesting, acorn, crop, corn, beans, if they're harvested, not harvested, green beans, brown beans, and then just kind of depends on where you are, what the rotation is, and from there.
Yeah, I would say it's a lot of that, but, the leaves are falling off. A lot of the green is losing its green, and the cover is not there. So they're going to go, the big mature bucks are going to go where the cover is. Yeah. They're not going to be standing there looking at you in the middle of the day for no reason. Mm-hmm. Like if they're there, it's because there's food source, but they're still going to be protecting their ass.
Yeah.
I would say in an area like we hunt, there's obviously a lot of hunters, and depending on the pieces, even your guys' size, it's a good sized farm, but it's not huge. The deer can walk right through it in minutes. So, I do think that food source is absolutely going to be, the primary reason behind it. But I also think any pressure, whether you think you did or didn't get in safe or you didn't see that buck, I think that they know people are in the woods. You got scent, you got, you got your physical presence is there. So I think even that little amount of pressure matched with the food source change is going to be a primary reason why you're just not going to have as productive a hunts or see as many deer. Their patterns are obviously changing, and it's just hard. If you don't get them.
I think, from my perspective,
before you get into yours, I would assume that for the most part around here, a lot of hunters that are not as serious as we are, I would say you guys are, because I have tried to be. I just don't have the time for it. Mm-hmm. So deer season is happening.
Yeah.
So people are out there shooting deer, and there's guys out there like, oh, I got to get out there. I need to start doing something. Like I've been pushing it off all summer. I'm going to get out there and put my stand up now, and I'm going to throw some corn here, put a feeder here, do this and that. I think that's part of it because, we don't start till pretty much the beginning of October.
Right.
So then you got guys waiting till they see some big bucks get shot.
Yeah.
And their buddies are telling them about it, and they're going out there and, oh, I can do that too. I can do it. I got them on camera. I just haven't done anything yet. So I think that's more this time of an age part of it versus 20 years ago.
I mean, I think you guys are all actually absolutely correct. I think the food changes a little bit. The beans stop being green. The corn gets hard. The acorns fall. I think you pair that with October chill in the air. We got some 30-degree nights, some 40-degree nights. Those bucks are all of a sudden, it's like us on a Friday night when we were in high school. Like, there's a party somewhere, and we're going to fucking be there.
All right.
So I think the bucks start getting that chill in the air. The food's changing a little bit. And all of a sudden, all summer long, Meemaw's Farm, maybe you smelled a guy on the weekend here or there, but Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, some fat bearded fucker is walking through the woods at dark, heading back to his truck. You pair those three things together, the deer go back to their spots. And by what I mean by their spots is you pair all those three things together, a buck that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, an older age buck is going to start saying, okay,
they know where they're safe at.
It's time for me to revert back to my spot. He's going to have his area he beds where he starts to check his does, all this other stuff. That's going to start happening as soon as that pressure, the food changes, and the chill in the air. You pair those three things together, it creates the October lull. Are those deer still there? On a farm like ours, for example, I checked a camera tonight that was on an acorn flat, and the acorn crop this year is just, it's out of control, incredible. Checked the camera on an acorn flat, 5 different 3-year-old bucks.
Acorns
the last
are
3
crazy.
days, there's been 5 different 3-year-old bucks coming through there day and night, just
the acorns are
vacuuming
crazy.
up acorns.
We went to Whip's Ledges, just went on the hiking trails and went around there. And there are some massive freaking oak trees there. And we about fell down the hills multiple times because there's so many acorns.
Slick.
It's like marbles.
Yeah.
You're just sliding down there. You're trying to walk. And I had the dog, so, he wants to go. And I'm just getting pulled down the hill. And it's just about rolling your ankle every time you're going down the hill.
So in my recent deer hunting career, I go back 10, 15 years, just my thoughts. I don't remember acorns like this. Like, obviously, every year there's some acorns that fall here and there. There's some trees that are like, whoa, that tree's got a lot of acorns. I checked all the oak trees today on our property. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it
amount
doesn't
of
matter
acorns
if it's
that are on
red
the
or
ground.
white.
It is unbelievable how many acorns are on the ground. And the trail cameras are showing that the deer are just pounding them.
Yeah, the
So
whites are huge.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that, but
They
whites
say
are
the deer
huge.
prefer the whites.
They do.
And we don't. Our farm actually does not have a lot of whites. Ours is a red oak farm. We got a lot
of red
oaks.
and pin oaks are
Yeah.
kind of the same.
And we don't. There's actually Kentucky had the pin oaks. Remember when we were down in Kentucky checking? There was a lot of pin oaks down there. I mean, I would love to have. We do have some white oak trees we've started to plant, but they're not at a point where they're producing mass. But man, them red oaks.
You know how to tell the difference between the red and white?
Isn't the rounded tips of the leaf?
The leaf.
Yeah, so
Leaves are sharp on a red.
the whites are rounded like a white man's bullet, and the reds are pointed like a red man's arrow.
All our leaves are pointy, sharp, waxy.
Not racist.
Waxy red.
This is it's just how it was told years ago.
Yeah,
I didn't make it up.
our farm is predominantly red oaks, which is
Red and pin.
which is they say the not
They're
deal.
smaller.
I mean the deer
But
the deer
They don't shy away from it.
Pounding them.
That's what I got a lot of red oaks over there at the in-laws, and
Yeah.
they're slamming them. And that's where I got the first pictures of that split G2.
Yeah.
And he was hitting the red oak, their feet in there, and he's making a scrape on the tree there.
That's the beautiful thing. The oak trees, especially the ours here, they're all mature trees, 60 to 80-year-old trees. So they got low branches that go out into they're out into the cornfields and stuff right now. Perfect scrape height. They're dropping a crazy ton of acorns, and the bucks are scraping like crazy underneath them.
Yeah.
I walked up on 2 non-branch scrapes tonight on my way to the stand
Yeah, that's
on
kind
a
of
trail. Like no branches, just some low shrubs, and then just huge scrapes.
I found a scrape. I sent a Snapchat of the one scrape I found today. It was like a little tiny, it was a little tiny maple tree that had like 3 leaves on it. It bent over, and a deer had made a pretty good sized scrape, pulled all the leaves out.
Satellite.
I love the fact that the scrapes are heating up. Scrape season to me is
The most fun.
I mean,
in the woods.
any moment in time, your cell camera can go off and you can just have your hammer just wrecking a scrape. I fucking love scrape season.
I hate checking cameras in the morning because I wake up at like 4:30 for
Yeah,
work.
so you're the first one up.
I'm like groggy-eyed in bed, like, there's nothing big. And I put my phone
Well,
back
I've
down.
actually
And then you go back through like 3 hours later, and you're like,
Yeah.
this fucking deer's there. I'm like, how the fuck did I miss that?
Yeah.
Well, the funny part is
Because
I-
after you went to work.
I had to wake up at 11. Like, no matter what, I can't fall asleep till 11 because that's when the wife pumps first.
Mm-hmm.
I got to let the dog out at 3 a.m. every night. She wakes up at 3 a.m. I let her out. So I check trail cams at 3 a.m. And then you wake up and all that. And then, like, I end up waking up whenever. And so so we're all on a shared app. So the trail cameras are getting checked throughout the night. But it's going to start getting real exciting because we're gonna check them randomly in the middle of the night and there's going to be hammers.
And we're like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, fuck yes! I love this time of year.
Yeah.
We have entered the fucking best time of year.
It's what we wait for all year.
We wait for it all year, and it's here, and we're not hunting
We
this
wait for the Bucks to hit the scrapes and the Browns to suck ass.
All right, time to start talking football. Ethan brought it up.
Oh, no, I didn't even want
Go Pack, go, baby.
to. They suck too.
They are not. They're gonna win the division. Fuck the Vikings, dude. Fuck the Vikings.
Go look at their.
Is there anything else you want to add about the October lull? Because I mean, I think you guys hit it on the head. I think those three. I think you factor in all that stuff. People are going to complain that their deer are gone, but the deer aren't really gone.
I mean, how much can you really go into it? I mean, you
can go into it
You
quite a
can,
bit.
but you only have so many factors that are going to change it, and we basically covered them. It's, It's
Well,
it's on one hand. I mean,
Yeah,
so
but-
you can dictate or have an opinion on which one you think affects it more, what percentage.
Here's the thing that people don't talk. So, like, there's two types of people in this situation. There's the ones that are like, oh my gosh, my buck is gone. October lull, hunting sucks. There's the other group, kind of like our group right now, that we're sitting there like, oh baby, when they showing up?
Yeah.
Like, we know that bucks are going to start showing up, and that's because they're doing those things. They're moving from their grounds. The food has changed. It's time to start rutting. Maybe they're going back to where they were born, and they're going to rut there. We've seen deer do that. So, like, you're either a guy that's, like, mad that your deer is gone or happy that he's about to show up.
So, like, the October lull, is it people hunting and not seeing bucks, or is it people checking their cell cams and be like, there's nothing there. Why would I go hunting?
So I think
There's no
what
point.
he's
I mean, our
saying
cameras
is-
have been getting better the last few days.
But also, I was at your house the other day, and we were looking at trail cam video from last year, the 13th, the 12th, the 8th, the 6th. And we were like, holy shit. We were just hunting the wrong spots.
Yeah.
And, like, we didn't realize until 3 weeks later into November that we were just not in the right
That's
location.
why I hate cell cams. Cell cameras suck so much balls because we throw these regular cameras out. A good quality regular video camera on a scrape, on a tree, on a field edge.
And they fucking kill.
Yeah, we leave it for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. We go check it, and it's like, oh my
November
God.
6th
Every
last
video
year.
is just something awesome because cell cameras are limited with their capabilities.
But
You can't
either way,
capture the whole thing.
either
Gotta
way, you're behind the
transmit.
game.
Yeah,
You're-
I agree.
you're
Once you get
not
the
ahead of
picture,
it.
you're behind it. Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you're chasing. You're always
Exactly.
chasing.
So
it doesn't
I would
matter.
have a question to ask you guys about it.
We can answer it.
So
I mean, we might answer it. Why not?
I mean, I know you're talking a wild animal with survival instincts.
Yeah.
But one thing that we don't get to do in life is adjust to the the amount of light that's in the day.
Right.
We get up in the summer, it's light. We get up in the summer, or in the winter, it's dark. Did they adjust their clock based on how much light's in a day?
I think literally everything depends on the amount of light in a day.
So
That's when they start feeling
Right.
because it could be 100 degrees in November.
Yes and no.
But they're still going to be.
but that's what
So
I'm
they
saying.
say they feed 5 times a day.
Yes.
So they're going to feed
I agree with that.
whether there's light or not light,
well, you know,
right?
but you're driving down X road down here that we grew up on, and you see how many deer out there in the middle of summer, and then they're all out there again at the same time in the winter when it's dark.
Yeah, when it's
Or
like 5 degrees out,
There
have
still
to
is only
feed-
24 hours in a day.
well,
They
that's what I'm
have to
saying.
feed more to keep the weight and fat and everything on, the calories to keep going, stay alive.
It just kind of
Yeah, I do think so. If you look, so like the Wise app has this feature where it tells you like the most it tells you like the period of day when you get the most pictures. And it is by far the most pictures we get is between 4:30, 5 p.m. at night and about 8. Between 8:30 p.m. and maybe 1 or 2 in the morning, it dies. So like right after light, when it gets dark for the first time, the food plots all die. Now they're obviously feeding somewhere, doing something.
I would say it's not the time period. I say it's just the light. I think because in the summertime, our time frame where it spiked was 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, and at 10 o'clock there's still bits of light out there.
As twilight starts to hit, that's when the cams pick up. And then you got about 30 minutes after light. I mean, it dies. You can be sitting there on your couch over like watching
But with
TV.
the adjustment of light comes with the adjustment of temperature.
There's a lot.
So you lose the light, you lose a lot of temperature.
That's true. But
especially in the winter.
I do agree that deer feed 5 times a day. I know they get up and eat around noon, but they're usually eating close to their beds.
Right.
But we get another influx of pictures on our. We'll get pictures overnight, but then like if you wake up too early, if I check the trail cameras, say I'm at work and I'm going on a fire call at 4:30 in the morning, I'm sitting in the truck on the way back.
That 4:30 is like the sweet spot,
right? So I start checking your cameras. There was not very many pictures between midnight and 4, maybe whatever. But then 4:30, 5:30 a.m., 6:30 a.m. You go to bed, you wake back up at 7:30 a.m. There's 150 more pictures. Like it blows up right before daylight, right at first light. It blows up, and then obviously it super dies 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. The deer are moving at noon. I know that we see deer at noon. You're driving around at noon for work, and you see deer out in some fields. They're going to eat by their beds. They're not going to travel far, but they're going to get up and eat.
Right, exactly.
Around lunchtime. It could change, the time is speculative, but the deer do get up around in the middle of the day and eat a little bit.
And temperature deters
Definitely
a lot of it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's colder, they're burning more fat. It's just science at that point.
Yeah, and they start stressing about it.
You put out a shit ton of corn when it's 10 degrees outside in January, they're going to hit it in the light. They hit it in the light.
You put out moldy corn right now, and they'll still eat it.
Yeah, you're going to get some fresh corn in?
I have fresh corn.
All right.
MFer.
There was a little bit of rumor there about some mold for a minute.
He's the corn guy.
I delivered Nick's corn, and it's sprinkled. So I'm guessing he didn't unwrap it.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. We actually have not. What's the date? The 12th.
But the rest 11th. Of it,
the 11th. Yeah.
We haven't
I don't
put
know
out
what
corn
happened to yours.
I didn't even really think about it, and then
because I had bags, the same bags, and they're still
the original ones that you gave me.
Yeah, the crappy cheap bags.
Yeah, I didn't notice it until I got halfway through it and I took it out and I'm like, that looks kind of moldy.
They still eat it though.
Did you end up selling?
I mean, it is gone.
Did you end up selling a pallet to Born Again Matt? Did he call you?
3.
Did you just say 3? Oh my god! It wasn't
just to him.
Okay.
So
he like
to him, it was to his cronies,
his buddies.
Born Again podcast is changing.
Buddies,
3
allegedly.
Oh, that's great.
I can't confirm or deny, but it's allegedly.
Nah, he texted me. He's like, "Who's your buddy that sells corn?" I need his number. I'm like, "All right."
Yeah, I had him hooked up that day.
Was it moldy?
No, it was straight from the processing plant to his house.
He texted me. He's like, "I need Alex's number, your buddy's number. I need to pick up some corn." It's funny.
We love you, Matt.
Yeah, we love you guys. But it's funny
because good dude.
It's funny because I remember a couple years when we first met, 2 or 3
a couple years ago. It was 2 months ago when he was sitting here with Nick. And he looked at Nick. He's like, "You shot your buck over corn."
Well, his last buck came over corn. We don't need to rant about Matt all night on the podcast, but his last buck did come over corn. But yes, it's funny because they were very anti-corn people, and then Alex sold them 3 pallets. It's awesome.
It was for a lot of people.
We don't have any out yet. We have gone. Last year we didn't do it until the week before we went to West Virginia.
Yeah,
so
I hated it.
I don't bait my 2 spots at all.
I kind of
just the yard.
I've thought about starting it here, but then I pulled back. We're okay. I don't feel like we don't.
In the area,
October 11th,
worry about
and they're hitting scrapes, and deer haven't even moved in. Your buck from last year didn't even move in yet.
My buck from last year, the one I'm hunting now?
No, the heavier one.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't even move into the farm.
Well, he was here on the 7th.
Okay,
so we're getting close.
4 days ago.
He never hit a corn pile either.
Exactly.
He did hit one as a 3-year-old. But last year, never once.
You end up getting a lot of does and yearlings.
Yeah.
But you will get that random buck that just stops by for like 5 minutes. It's
Gives
literally
you
about
hope and then
5
it just
minutes.
rips away.
I had one a couple years ago. It was 2 years ago. I went buckless 2 years ago. I did kill one in West Virginia, but I went buckless in Ohio 2 years ago, and there was this random weird forward-facing, like 8-10 point. He wasn't very big. He was spindly. It was like January, -10 degrees, so he had like the fur was all fluffed up. Weird, kind of a strange-looking buck. But he hit the corn for like 2 or 3 days in January, and I was hoping last year he would come back, and he didn't, but we'll see if he comes back again.
But he might have come in because he smelled the doe that he was used to, and then corn. You know,
It's hard to say.
Yeah. But
It's hard to say.
going back to what you said, I mean, it does feel weird. I know it's early.
It is early.
We're 2 weeks in, but
Some guys are hitting the panic button.
I know
but
you had
dude,
Tyler.
You don't need to hit the panic
You had
button.
Tyler in here. You know, he's obviously not part of our group. I know he's in your Snapchat group or whatever, but it seems like the last couple years we've had at least one deer in here at this point. We had one early season.
I think Cassick killed his around now.
last year,
I
pretty
think
sure
it
he
was a
killed
little
his
bit
1
later.
year after 1 week
killed
after
it
Luke
October
killed his.
Oh, that's true.
And Luke wasn't until October 25th.
Luke's was
22nd.
October 22nd.
And
then
Cassick was
because we had their heads laying together in there.
They were
Right.
back-to-back
You're right.
Sundays.
So last year, no one killed early,
I
even
guess
though it was a
not.
banner year for. There was a lot of deer last
We
year.
just watched deer in the distance in the beans, but
I guess.
Beans.
Beans.
I guess
don't
maybe it was 2 years
2 years ago,
'cause me and Cassick were both already done.
you killed your 106 and he killed his 130. Well, he killed the 130.
Cassick last year?
No,
No,
2 years
2
ago.
years ago.
Killed
Oh,
138.
yeah. Yeah, you were 106.
green beans.
Cassick was a 138 early.
That was an epic year for beans.
Isaac
No, was it 138? Or
Isaac
was it the one I
January
was at?
28th. And
No. It was
No,
it was
130.
It was a 130.
the same year
It was
I-
a 130.
Last year, 2 years ago.
2 years
years
ago.
2 years ago.
Last year his buck was huge.
160.
No one knew about that deer.
He didn't even know about it until he killed it.
Oh,
2
I
years
will
ago
say-
was
I have unlimited video of me tracking it. We drug
was
it out of the
2 years
green
ago,
beans.
Alex.
We
I
brought it
promise.
in here.
which one?
The one you were after.
2
Yeah,
years
the one-
ago?
the- no,
3
the
years
one-
ago?
The buck
Was
that
it?
you were after was
2 years ago, me and him killed
Yeah.
within like a week of each other,
Yeah.
and it was he was not happy when
He killed him out. The deer he killed 2 years ago was out of the same stand that he killed your buck out of, but the buck that was 2022.
Yeah, and I will say I
21.
forgot to do it earlier,
Yeah.
but that giant buck that I was hunting,
Yeah.
Cassick was also hunting, so we were both a little bit sad. So
Yeah.
I forgot to give Cassick a
Yeah.
shout out. We were texting each other.
Cassick and Luke are the only ones on the board back there that don't have anything written. Come up with something.
21.
But
Yeah, it's 21. Yeah. That's the year I
When-
killed Dad's buck. 21 was a good year.
when
21
was the
still on it.
earliest this group has killed in Ohio? Like, what's the earliest buck that we've had hanging in the shop?
Dylan's 158. The one he would let rot in the sun.
Hey, did you notice my
September.
Opening day.
my
Opening day?
koozie
Yeah.
matches my
Bitcoin.
Bullshit.
No, yeah, right. Ryan's our Bitcoiner.
Bitcoin sucks. I haven't
What's it
made
doing right now?
Nothing. It sucks.
Probably at 65, which ain't bad.
I'm hoping it stays there for a while.
Buy up.
So
All the other ones suck too.
Were you going to talk about football or no?
No.
What?
Nope. Mm-mm.
Do we? I don't think we really
We're at
need
an
to.
hour and 20
We can
minutes.
start another podcast.
Nah.
Now
did give
what?
a Quick
We're not
shout out.
starting another podcast. We're going to finish this one out.
Yeah, I know it's football season, and we're all juiced up about that. But I will say,
Go, Pack, go.
I'll give a shout out to the Guardians for pulling.
Yeah,
back on
tomorrow's
Yeah.
a big day.
Game 4.
108.
Guardians tied.
We're
it
going to
up.
be watching it. I'll be watching it at the Apple Butter Festival.
I'll be in a wedding.
You're in the wedding?
No, I'm not in the wedding. I'll just be at the wedding.
Game 5 tomorrow. 108. Bring on the Yankees. Hopefully, let's get a win.
I don't
We
know
need-
where I'll be.
I hope wherever Jose Ramirez is tonight, that he's doing everything he can to just make it happen. We
Yeah.
need Jose. I know he had a homer last game, but his
Hey, you
playoff,
talk your shit because you talk your shit. You're like, where the fuck's Jose been in this?
that's fine.
See,
that's
I'm
fine.
normally historic
I mean,
for that. I start talking shit about.
But
stuff.
Jose is our.
Jose
he's going to go
Ramirez
down
doesn't
as
do anything
Jose
in
has a
playoffs.
chance to go down as the greatest Cleveland Indian of all time. He needs to do more in the playoffs. This is the time. You need to fucking hit.
He doesn't even speak English.
But-
Leave him alone.
He
You-
fucking does. He just doesn't like to say it.
You can get it's base. That's the beautiful thing
No
about
hablo.
baseball is you can get.
I mean, I give props to Clase last night. So, like, game 2. Was it game 2? He just got rocked.
Fucking hate Class A.
So he had
Nice, didn't
he had 5 earned runs
Hate
the
him.
entire season. 5 earned runs the entire season. He had 3 in that game too.
well,
that
it all
shit
came
sucks.
off one swing.
There was lead up to that one swing.
Right.
But last night he fucking manned up. And,
Yeah. And then that the pinch hitter came in, got a nice hit, and they
Fry.
sacrificed. Well, I'm saying
Oh,
there
for them, yeah.
in the bottom. Which
We
they-
did that
they
tight
ended up,
squeeze at the end. We did the death squeeze or whatever. What do they call that?
squeeze,
Suicide squeeze. Suicide squeeze. There was a lot of talk that Tito wouldn't have done that.
Tito would not have done that. No.
Manager of the Reds. Does that hurt?
So I mean, you
No,
have a guy
good for
like
him.
David
Good for
Fry who came in on a pinch hit, hits a 2-run homer. Then he comes up to the plate and executes a suicide squeeze, gets you that extra run which you needed to win the game. So Jose's homer obviously contributed to the win, but it's baseball. You can get production out of anybody.
It is.
It doesn't.
But this is, I mean,
Aaron Judge has been terrible, and the Yankees just won 3 out of 4 games.
how scary is Aaron Judge? The fact that we're gonna if we get through this.
Yeah, the Yankees' budget is completely different.
I
than
understand.
the world.
I know. But if Jose wants to go down as the greatest Cleveland Indian, he just needs to go tomorrow.
he
Just go into tomorrow, go
does.
3 for 4, 2 RBIs, just fucking kill it.
Yeah,
And
I mean that's the dream.
That's the dream.
He's got to win the game.
It does suck that we're facing the best pitcher in Major League Baseball.
Oh, man.
now, but
Who's that?
his Tariq Skubal.
Scooble.
So his numbers on 4 days of rest, he's 4-3 this year. On 5 days of rest or more, he was like 6-2, and on 6 or more, he was like 9-0.
How many games did he win?
I think he was like 19.
All of them.
He's a Cy Young. He's
He's unanimous
right.
Cy.
Yeah. And that's
21 to 19, but pretty much 500 on short rest. So you get to see him twice in 5 days, and
I mean,
they put him in some tough situations that he got out of, and
I'm still kind of salty. These old Cleveland fans to go fuck themselves in the last game.
whatever. You got to do that.
yeah.
If you're Cleveland, you're going to
rivalry.
say that about you got to do it.
So yeah, the AJ Hinch, the manager, was asked about if he's confident with his pitcher on the mound. He like smirked and kind of trolled Cleveland like, I'm always confident with Tariq Skubal on the mound. So I just want to give it to him. Fuck,
We'll see.
Are you betting on the Tigers tomorrow?
no,
Please do it.
I know, right? So I don't know.
Deer Shot Podcast
Episode 64.
64.
Ow.
Out. Done.